The Extraordinary Life of Helen Keller by Kelsey Lamke. Early life. Helen Keller was born on June 27, 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. She was able to see and hear when she was born. At 6 months, she started talking, well, baby talk, and by the age of 1, she was able to walk. Loss of sight and hearing. In 1882, Helen contracted an illness called brain fever, which was diagnosed by her family doctor, and it was where the body temperature gets so high and it won't come down. After a few days after her fever broke, her mother noticed there was some unfamiliar reactions from Helen. Like when a dinner bell would ring, she wouldn't come to the table, and if someone would wave their hand in front of her face, she wouldn't react to it. So at 19 months old, Helen had lost her sight and hearing. She created her own sign language by herself so that she could communicate with her family members. And her behavior became out of control because she wasn't understanding what was going on. Answers and inspiration. Helen's mother looked for answers everywhere that she could, and she was reading a travel log one day, and she came across a the American Notes by Charles Dickens while she was reading, and it was about another blind and deaf woman who had overcome. She was able to talk again. So her mother sent her father and Helen to Baltimore to see specialist Dr. Julian Chisholm, and he examined her and recommended that she went to see Alexander Graham Bell, which he was the inventor of the telephone, and he was working with deaf people at this time. He examined her and said that they needed to go to Perkins Institute for the Blind. So they went there, and they met Anne Sullivan, which was a recent graduate from the school. Anne Sullivan, educator. She went to live in Alabama with Helen and her family. She taught Helen finger spelling, which was she would take each letter and spell it in her palm of her hand for her. Her first word was doll, and that was a gift from Anne to Helen whenever they first got there. Helen started not cooperating with Anne, so they ended up moving out of the family's house to a cottage on the plantation. The next word that she learned was water, and it was from they went out to the fountain, and Anne had held Helen's hand under the running water and would spell each letter, and Helen actually understood and ended up saying water that day. By that night, she had learned 30 new words. Education. Helen was determined to go to college. In 1896, she attended Cambridge School for Young Ladies. And while she was there, she met Mark Twain, and he ended up he was so proud of her determination to go to college that he ended up paying for her to go to Radcliffe College. She mastered several methods of communication, as in Braille, reading lips, and stuff like that. She wrote her first book called The Story of My Life, which was from her childhood until she was in college. And she ended up meeting John Macy, and they got married in 1905, which they ended up separating, but they were never divorced. leaving the world. She suffered series of strokes in 1861, and she just ended up staying at home after that. She didn't go anywhere or go and speak in front of people anymore because she was afraid that she would end up stroking out. She received many honors after that. She ended up dying June 1st, 1968, in her sleep, just a few weeks before her 88th birthday. She stood as a powerful example to many people for her determination to get through all of her life obstacles. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. In loving memory of Helen Keller. Thank you.